and welcome to No Second Season on what is a public holiday here, Good Friday, the 29th of March, 20 past 11 in the morning. I've only just got out the house. I am so rubbish, but I do have a good excuse this time. My last video, you'll know I had a fall on a hike. It actually seemed quite innocuous at the time. By the time I drove home, my knee was swollen, my ribs hurt. But I thought I'd be okay, although I knew I'd have to cancel my Easter surfing holiday because I wasn't going to be able to lay down on my chest and push up or lay down on my knee. So I cancelled that and I started setting my bike up for bike packing. Now, unfortunately, I didn't take it easy that week. And during that week, something happened to my chest where it hurt. Woke up Monday morning, a week later, to the most horrific pain right across my chest, which prompted me to go to the accident department. I never go to the doctors or hospital. It's a complete waste of bloody time unless you've got something broken or you have, I don't know, serious illness. Anyway, it was so painful and I never take time off work either. But I sat all day in the accident department. I had an x-ray, a CAT scan. I wish I hadn't had that because I didn't realise they're so harmful to you. They found nothing. See, but it was so incredibly painful. Even with painkillers, they gave me a load of painkillers. It still hurt. Anyway, the hospital couldn't find anything, so all we can assume is it's some badly strained muscles in my ribs and in my pecs. So I had to cancel my bike packing plans as well because still, nearly 2 weeks on, it's incredibly painful. I'm having to do everything in slow motion. I didn't pack the car slow enough, so it's throbbing again. Yeah, so we'll see how we go this weekend. So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back at work Tuesday, and I'm going to do something I've wanted to do for some time, and that's go to the Outback. Now the Outback really is the sort of the desert, the centre area of Australia, and if I drive for nearly 10 hours I can just get to the edge of it, and then that's just the edge of it. To get right into the centre it'd take me another couple of days to drive. It's probably the only time I'm going to get to see the Outback, so I thought I may as well do it now. No biking, no hiking, no surfing, no equipment with me, just camping gear, going for a tourist look-see, and that'll be enough for me in this state because I'm feeling very second-hand indeed. So that's 11 kilometres down, 860 to go. We're 135 kilometres in. I'm in a little country town called Berrigan. I just stopped to put some air in my tyres because I remembered that I forgot to do it. I'm so excited about getting to the Outback. So all this way I've been on the Riverina highway, and so we're basically following the Murray River west. We're going to go all the way to Mildura. At that point the Murray River then dives south to Adelaide where it exits into the Indian Ocean, and we'll go north from there. Just coming into this town called EBIII. Now British people will know this. It's a nickname for England or Great Britain, I'm not sure which. To my left is a canal. Very interesting. I didn't know they had canals in Australia. This is the canal running to my left. It's very wide, much bigger than I thought it would be. No swimming, it says. The canal is now on my right. leave the Riverina highway and continue west on the Sturt highway. What I love about my travels in Australia is that always the names of the roads and places, if they haven't been replaced by Aboriginal names, come from the pioneer explorers back in the 1800s. I don't research them in depth, I'm not that concerned with it, but I do like to know the general history. And the Sturt Highway is named after the Scotsman Charles Sturt. Nowadays it runs east to west across New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia for some 947 kilometres. The road has had many iterations but has always been an important link between Sydney and Adelaide, running east to west, but none more so than now, where inland areas it passes through are very big producers of fruit, vegetables and grain. At the eastern terminus, the road links to the Hume Highway. From there, you head north all the way to Sydney. The Hume Highway is another road named after an explorer, and that's Hamilton Hume. In 1824, Hamilton Hume and William Hovell were tasked with finding new grazing land and to map the rivers of the southern New South Wales and the northern Victoria area. They left Appin near Sydney and trekked southward with a team of people, and they kept to the west of the Great Dividing Range to avoid the very harsh, hilly bushland, eventually arriving near what is now Geelong to the west of Melbourne. There's a great walking track named after the pair, the Hume and Hovell walking track. It's 426 kilometres, running across quintessential Australian eucalypt forests, bushland, swamps, and through regional areas, across rivers from Yass to Albury. And it roughly tracks the route that Hume and Hovell took back in 1824. Getting back to the Sturt Highway, it was categorised as a national highway in 1992 and is designated the title A20 along its entire length. The majority of the route is of single carriageway, with a little wider section or two nearer the western terminus. It's roughly aligned with the southern bank of the Murrumbidgee River in New South Wales, and after the confluence with the Murray, it's roughly aligned with the Murray River all the way to Adelaide. Although named the Sturt Highway, the English explorer Edward Eyre had travelled a similar route a year before Sturt, so I'm not quite sure why it wasn't called the Eyre Highway. I'm sure there's a good reason. But I can imagine back in the day, in the mid to late 1800s, when there were regular mail coaches and passenger coaches running along the Sturt Highway, getting held up by the bush rangers of the day. Hi, so I've done just over 600 kilometres. I'm about 200 away from Broken Hill, where I'm going. It's gone 7 o'clock, so I need to settle down for the night. So this is the Murray River. Sun's just going down. It's very quiet. I don't know if I'll be all right here or not. But I'm going to have to risk it. Hi, I'm settled down now, still by the river. I hope I don't get disturbed tonight. It doesn't say you can't camp here, so I'm camping here. I just hope there's no one around. A bloke did see me here. He was on a motorbike, just whizzing up and down this lane. So I hope he leaves me alone. It's very hot in here, so I've had the fan on. I left it far too late to find somewhere to camp. I had to do everything in a rush. Everything's upside down. As usual, I forgot loads of things because, again, a last minute decision to come. My chest is hurting quite a bit, so I think I need to just rest now. I'll try and get my head down, get some sleep. Perhaps I can get up early in the morning. I'm ever so excited because I've never been to the Outback. I'm hoping when I get to Broken Hill, it's what I think it's going to be, just rocky and dry and dusty. Quite desert-like, but we will see tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna get my head down now. See you in the morning. Nighty night. Morning. It's 7:15. I slept okay, didn't get disturbed, so that was brilliant. I really thought I might get moved on. It's still dark outside. So I'm going to get up and have some breakfast now. My chest is still sore, but it definitely feels like it's turned a corner, because I'd have expected all the rushing around yesterday to really tear it again. I was dreading waking up this morning, but it doesn't feel worse than it did yesterday anyway. That's a good thing. So I'm going to have some breakfast and then I'm going to get off. I have another 300 kilometres to go. Can't wait. Can't wait, can't wait. I got a bit carried away watching the birds. I burnt my raisin toast. I got to start again. Bugger, I wanted to get off. Never mind. It's so beautiful here. So many birds. Not particularly pretty ones. There was a kookaburra, but he's disappeared. He hasn't come back. I'm burning the other one as well. Oh, shit. Can you believe it? I've burnt the other one as well, but not that black. It is black, but not as black. Damn it. I've only got the cooker on really low. So it's a little bit, it's a little bit black. I'll just scrape off the black. I know it's not good for you. I really don't care. Jesus. The sun has started rising behind me now properly, and I'm going to get off. I'm just packing up. So I've been following the Murray River all the way from Albury, 600 kilometres, going west. On this bend and another series of bends, it turns 90 degrees and the Murray goes south all the way to near Adelaide, to Wellington near Adelaide, where it empties into Lake Alexandria and then into the Indian Ocean. I've just crossed the Darling River, and here at Wentworth the Darling joins the Murray, and around 100 kilometres to the east the Murrumbidgee also joins the Murray. So you can imagine the immense flooding there was when we had the heavy rain events in 2022 and 2023, and when the Hume Dam was releasing millions and millions of litres of water a day into the Murray River. I've only been going around 50 kilometres, but I just stopped to get changed because it's getting hot already. It's about 9:30 and I'm just under the Silver City highway at the moment. So I've come down the rest area, and there's a branch of the Darling River here. It's called the Darling River Anna branch. Whatever. Yes, there's a toilet. I'm busting. And they're quite clean as well. There's not a sound. Quite civilised. It's incredibly quiet here. I can hear a car coming. Very distant bird song, but nothing else. That is such a good, clean toilet. So running to my right, I could see a huge body of water, and it is in fact a lake. And so I thought I'd stop in the rest area. It's a nice rest area. It's got toilets, barbecue areas, picnics. As soon as I stopped, the birds were clamouring around my car, and they were picking the dead insects out of my radiator, out of my intercooler. And it's called Lake, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's called Lake Popiltar. I just noticed that's gone missing. Where's that gone? Damn it, I'll have to buy one. Had a bit of a knock the other day. I caught this side of the bumper and the wing on a post in a car park, so it's all a bit lopsided now. Anyway, it's quite humid. I just stopped for a quick bite to eat and to look at the lake. So let me tell you a little bit about where we're going. At this point, we've just crossed a timeline, and clocks go back half an hour. Even though it's still New South Wales, it's in a different time zone, the Central Australian time zone. The earliest human settlers in the area around Broken Hill are thought to have been the Wilyakalli Indigenous Australians, once thought to have only intermittently lived in the area, because of the lack of a permanent water source. But it's since been found out the indigenous clans of the area were able to survive on underground water from holes and wells that were unknown to the European settlers. Many of these water holes are still kept secret from non-indigenous people. Today, the Wilyakali people are still the main Aboriginal group in the Broken Hill area. Although it's said the Scotland-born Assistant Surveyor General of New South Wales, Thomas Mitchell, first passed through the area in 1835, it wasn't until 1844 that an expedition led by Charles Sturt gave us our first insight into what was to become Broken Hill. Sturt travelled north up the Murray River from Adelaide, joining the Darling River at the confluence, and then continuing north. On reaching what is now Menindee Lakes, he was guided along the Stevens Creek by an Indigenous teenager from Menindee called Topar. Sturt's mission was to find what he believed was an inland sea in Outback Australia. He and his men went through hard times on their expedition, having to lay up sometimes for months on end due to lack of water, illness and sandstorms. The quest to find this inland sea became quite an obsession of Sturt's. On reaching just north of Broken Hill, known traditionally as Wilyama, Sturt's progress was blocked by a range of mountains, and he named the mountains the Barrier Range. The name Broken Hill came from the fact that these hills were quite a peculiar shape. They looked broken. Alas, nowadays that isn't visible due to all of the mining. Sturt was never to find the fabled inland sea, turning back at the impenetrable sand dunes of what is now known as the Simpson Desert. He returned to England, but always hoped for a return to Australia. On numerous occasions, he tried to secure himself a high-profile position in Australia, but was always unsuccessful. Perhaps he was just too nice. Unlike other explorers, Sturt never had a hostile confrontation with the Indigenous Australians. He died in Cheltenham in the UK in 1869. Pastoralists first began settling in the area in the 1850s, and the main trade route to this area was along the Darling River at that time. Broken Hill town itself was founded in 1883 by a man called Charles Rasp. He discovered what he thought was tin in the hills, but it actually proved to be silver and lead, and the ore turned out to be of the highest quality. By 1885, the Broken Hill Proprietary Company Limited, BHP, was to become Australia's richest company. Many other precious metals and minerals were found in Broken Hill, such as pyromorphite, gypsum, smithsonite, copper and gold. By the early 1900s, Broken Hill was the second most populated settlement in Australia after Sydney. That's quite amazing. And to this day, mining still continues in Broken Hill. Although now depleted somewhat, mining still yields around 2 million tonnes of precious metals annually. Sheep farming has become the principal industry in the area, mostly of the merino breed, presumably for their wool. An important point of note is that Broken Hill is also known for its input into the formation of the labour movement in Australia and has a rich trade union history. Some of the most bitter industrial disputes have been fought in Broken Hill. The last of these led to the formation in 1923 of the Barrier Industrial Council, a group of 18 trade unions, which became one of the most influential organisations in the politics of the city. The elevation and climate of Broken Hill. Well, it sits at 315 metres elevation above sea level, with a hot desert-like climate and an average annual rainfall of 235 millimetres. In 2022, Broken Hill had record rainfall, as did most of New South Wales. On one day alone, 140 millimetres of rain fell. The main street resembled a river. Although there is still mining in Broken Hill, it's become a much visited tourist town with attractions such as the living desert sculptures and the Line of Load Memorial. I made my way to my campsite, 12 kilometres north of Broken Hill, only to discover that the man I spoke to on the phone, when he said, "You can pay me when you get here," he actually meant he was in Broken Hill at the Tourist Information Office, so I had to drive all the way back to Broken Hill. While I was back in Broken Hill, I decided I may as well take in some of the sights while I was here, then go back to the campsite. It can't be overstated just how important Broken Hill was to the prosperity of Australia. If you're into mining stocks, you will have come across BHP. BHP being Broken Hill Proprietary Limited. Now merged with Billiton, it is a behemoth of a company. The boomerang-shaped ore body that was discovered at Broken Hill formed as a result of volcanic activity around 1700 million years ago. Erosion over the past 500 million years outcropped the centre section, with the extremities diving back into the Earth's crust. And it is this ore body that is called the Line of Load and has been mined since 140 years ago and is still mined to this day. I can't work out whether where we're standing now is actually part of the Line of Load or just the tailings heap from the mining waste. I'm not quite sure, perhaps a bit of both. This dramatic, raw, rusted steel structure, reminiscent of a mining tunnel, is a fitting tribute to the over 800 lives lost in the 140 years of Broken Hill mining. Annually, a Remembrance Day ceremony is held in Broken Hill, marking all the fallen miners of the town. Wow, just look at all these people that have died, and they're not just the normal rock falls you'd think about. There's lead poisoning, dust on lungs, explosion, rock fall, fell down ore heap, accident, explosion, fell down ladder. Rock falls, fell down shaft, crushed by wagon, explosion. And there are hundreds and hundreds of them. Run over by truck, crushed between trucks, heart failure, rock fall, fell from cage. Just so many of them. They've left some space. Let's hope they don't have to use it. 1990, 2002, 2007. Crushed by machinery. Heart failure, heart disease, there's quite a few of those. Electrocuted.
Quarter-past-3, just driving back to the campsite, and I saw this reserve on my right, White Rocks Reserve. So this rocky outcrop, there was a confrontation between two Turkish sympathisers and the police. So on New Year's Day 1915, the two Turks set about firing their guns upon a train with 1,200 people in, killing 4 of them and wounding 7. And they scarpered off up to here to these rocks and held out. And then when they decided to make their way back to the camel camp, the police and them had a 3-hour gun battle in which they were both killed. And this is a replica of the ice cream cart that the two Turks performed their Trojan horse type attack on the train. Very interesting little side story. Now let's get to that campsite. Okay, so it's 5:30. I've set up at the campsite. I've got a huge pitch. It's this one. Now I bought this cheap bed mozzie net from, I think, Bunnings or Amazon, I can't remember where. And I've just sort of pulled it over the back to try and reduce the flies. They're still getting in there, as you can see, but for some reason they get all caught up and don't actually get into the car. This is run by Broken Hill City Council. There's some sculptures that I will drive up to in a little while. It would be nice to actually see them at sunset, but not going to get sunset today. Not a pretty one anyway. It will set, obviously, unless the world's coming to an end, of course. And there's also a cultural walk, which, you know, tells you a bit about the rocks, the flora and fauna of the area, but it closes at 5 o'clock, so I've missed that. I might do it in the morning. I'll see how I go. Yeah, so what I might do is just take a drive up to these sculptures. It's called a primitive campsite, but there's a very big picnic area with lighting that looks very nice. And also there's 2 huge toilet rooms, and they've got in them, it's like a wet room, but it's not all manky. Wet rooms are really manky usually, aren't they? 2 really nice wet rooms, and there's hot water. So I've just had a lovely shower. You wouldn't believe it. I walk over there, I don't know, 50 metres, 100 metres. Walk over there, forgot my washing stuff. Walk back with my washing stuff. Then have my shower. Walk back again. Then the lady says, "Did you drop that top?" I dropped a top. So I had to go back and pick that up. Get back to my car. Forgot my hat. Left my hat in the showers. So that's 4 times. Don't know what's going on with me. As you can see, there's still 1 or 2 flies getting in here, but nothing like outside of this net. I might get a couple of those socks that go over the windows. I took a quick hike up to the top of the rocky hill behind my car, and then I drove off up to the top where the sculpture park is. Okay, so I took myself on a short drive from my campsite. The sculpture park is about 1 kilometre, so you can walk it, but it's steeply uphill. As you can see, we're high up here. Anyway, this is the place to come for sunsets and sunrises, but I don't expect to get a good one today. There's some great views. I can see a lake in the distance over there. This stone is telling us about the Broken Hill Sculpture Symposium, April the 2nd to May the 23rd, 1993, and a list of all the sculptors. I got up to the sculptures far too late. In no time it was dark, so I'll show you around some of them. This piece is called Facing the Day and the Night by Eduardo Nastaluna from Mexico. Unfortunately, He hurt himself while doing this piece and had to get some help to finish it. This piece is called Thomasina by Thomas Munkanomi from Bathurst Island. This piece is called Motherhood and it was done by Badri Salusia of Tbilisi, Georgia. I'm not very arty-farty, so some of it's lost on me, but not all of it. I did enjoy that one. This one is called The Bride. Dr. Muhammad Mira from Damascus, Syria, created this piece. This piece is called Moon Goddess and it was created by Conrad Clark from the UK, who actually lives in Katoomba, Australia now. Lots of rain over here. This is named Habitat and it was created by Dr. Ahmed Al Ahmed from Damascus, Syria. Created by Antonio Nava from Mexico City. This one, called Under the Jaguar Sun, is the sort of masterpiece because when there's a great sunset you can view it through the hole. Unfortunately not today. This is telling us it's the Sundown Geodetic Station and we are 395.16 metres above sea level. This one is called Angels of the Sun and the Moon by Valerian Jakaya of Georgia. This one by the symposium director Lawrence Beck of Australia was totally lost on me. It's called A Present for Fred Hollows in the Afterlife. Rainbow Serpent, created by Badger Bates of Broken Hill, Australia. I quite like this one.
Le cha-cha-cha. Le cha-cha-cha. Le cha-cha-cha. Le cha-cha-cha.
Tiwa Totems by Gordon Pupangamiri of Bathurst Island created this one. And lastly, my favourite, entitled Horse by Jumba Jakaya of Georgia.
Nous commençons par l'étude du pas de base, le va-et-vient. Le va-et-vient. Le va-et-vient.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Apprenons le cha-cha-cha. Apprenons le cha-cha-cha. Apprenons le cha-cha-cha.